Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Cat's Track. Thank you so much for joining us today. Today, we have a very special guest who was a Canadian and is moved to Mexico. And I'm very curious to hear her story and share it with everyone, because as we all decide that where we want to be or what our next phase of life might be, maybe Laura can dismiss some of the myths that are out there and maybe can tell us what the path to success was for her and her family. So Laura, thanks so much for joining today. I'm delighted you're here.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you for asking me. It's been a wonderful journey, so I'm really excited to talk to you about it today.
Me too. I'm delighted to hear. So tell us your story. Obviously, you grew up in Canada.
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Canada, lived all across the country, born out east, lived in, oh my gosh, the Maritimes, British Columbia, and then for the last, I guess, 12 years, was living in Calgary, Alberta with my husband. And yeah, we had a really amazing life there. I was the vice president at Boston Pizza International, so really great job that I loved. And just kind of in that zone. I was, traveling all the time, meeting with franchisees. My husband was a senior sales executive with Ritchie Brothers, and he was doing these big oil and gas deals all around the world. So we would literally meet up at the airports. I'd be flying out, he'd be flying in, and I don't know, we never really thought anything of it. Life was amazing. And then COVID came along, and we both got grounded. Obviously, the whole country did, and we were together in Calgary, like together for for days on end. And we both just kind of looked at each other like, oh my goodness, like I actually really love you. I love spending time with you. This is absolutely crazy what we were doing before. So he actually retired right away. I think it was the end of April, and he was like, yeah, that's I'm done with that. I'm ready for, a change of pace. But I was just so wrapped up in what was happening with COVID and the restaurant industry. And, I spent almost my whole career working in that industry. And I couldn't leave the franchisees, and I couldn't leave my team in the midst of all of this crazy going on. So we stayed in Calgary for about 2 more years after that. And then it got to the point where I think this was about September, October. COVID was still such a, huge, kind of still an emergency state in the country. And politically, we were finding ourselves a little bit more, maybe just not so aligned directionally with where things were going. And the business at Boston Pizza had started to stabilize. So we had decided that I was going to join Jim in retirement, and we were going to move to Mexico. We were ready for a change of pace. We were just ready. We were just ready to spend some time together and go on this crazy adventure. Now, truth be told, I did stay on consulting for Boston Pizza for about 7 or 8 months just to transition the business properly. I really have so much heart for that business, so I wanted the transition to go well. But yeah, we decided to sell everything. We sold our house we lived in, our rental properties. We had a sailboat on Vancouver. Like literally, we sold everything. And we came here to Mexico City. We'd always had this kind of, big dream of moving to a really big city. Like we're city folks. So we'd had this kind of big dream that at one point we're going to go and live in, a huge city somewhere. And so we decided we'd come to Mexico City about 10 years ago on a vacation. And I was just like, oh my goodness, if you just listen to what they say on the news and things like that, you would think that it's something very different than it actually was. We were so surprised. So we decided to move to Mexico City and kind of just fulfill this, bucket list item of living in a really big city. We'd never traveled through South America. Like we'd been all over so many other places, but never been to South America. So we thought, oh my gosh, what a great jumping off point that's going to be. So yeah, we packed it all in about a year and 5 months ago, and have been here ever since. It's been an amazing adventure.
I am so happy for you both. Wow. And so delighted that you've given it an opportunity for both of you to just go and discover an adventure. What a great
Yeah,
adventure.
yeah.
So,
It's been
so tell us
amazing.
dismiss some of the myths for us. So, as we know, as you said, you alluded to the fact that when we are listening to the news, we're not always getting the whole story. I agree with you. Could you please expand on that? What would be some of the things that maybe might be misunderstood about Mexico, Mexico City, or any of those areas?
Yeah, I think that the first thing is around safety. Like it's always the first thing people ask me, like, "Oh my gosh, Laura, do you go out by yourself?" And oh, like, are you fearful when you're outside of your apartment? And like, I would just like to dispel that for the record. Like my mother, she joined us here about 6 weeks after we came to Mexico City. She is in her, mid to late 70s. She takes Uber by herself all the time. She goes to the Palace and to the Zocalo and to, art galleries. And, I go out with the dogs at night by myself. Touch wood. We have not had one issue with safety whatsoever. I feel incredibly well protected here. I feel like the people are just absolutely incredible. We've really gone out of our way to make friends with like local Mexican people so that we can learn the culture and just really assimilate into the city. I take the subway by myself. I take the bus by myself. And it's not like it's just one or two neighborhoods in the city that you're kind of confined to. That's just not the case. Like you can go where we are. We're in a neighborhood called La Condesa, and yes, it's very beautiful. But there's probably, I could name 15 or 20 neighborhoods in the city that are just incredibly safe. So that's not been an issue for us. I mean, we're really smart. Like obviously, if we go out late at night, we have our wits about us, as you would do in any place
Anywhere,
in the
any,
world. Um,
any.
I think that would be the first thing is just um, it's so incredibly safe here. We've had zero issues with that. Jim's parents are also here. They go out and they're in their mid 80s. They go walking around the neighborhood by themselves. So yeah, safety is just yeah, it's not a concern. So I think that would be the first one, and then I think the second one is I'm not sure what people think about what life is like here in Mexico City. But I mean, my goodness, if you want to go to IKEA or go to Costco and shop at the big, like it's all of those things are here. Like it's not something that's 20, 30 years ago, and those types of stores don't exist here. They absolutely do. There's Starbucks everywhere and all that kind of North American kind of shopping culture exists here too. But what I think is really spectacular, what I really love is just all of the markets everywhere and the vendors everywhere. I probably do 80% of all of my grocery shopping at my local farmers market every Tuesday. And affordability is obviously really different here too. Like the cost of living is, yeah, maybe a quarter of what we were paying, 25% of what we were paying in Calgary.
Wow.
Um, yeah, yeah, like I could give you the itemized list, but I won't go down that rabbit hole. But it's incredibly affordable here. There's no heating or air conditioning in Mexico City, which I thought was so fascinating, but it really speaks to it's just got this climate. My mom says it's like the best climate in the world here, and I would probably agree. It's like 23 degrees and sunny every single day, and you're so
Nice.
high. The elevation is actually higher than Calgary
Hmm.
here in Mexico City, so it cools down really nice in the evening, and it's so green. Like there's just
Oh,
parks and forests and tree-lined boulevards. I mean, it really does look a little bit more like Europe than I was expecting. So yeah, I
nice.
think those are some of the things that were really just different than what you hear and what you might expect if you plan
Hmm.
on visiting the city.
Excellent. Do you mind if we do some comparisons with regard to costs? So, as an example, we're in a two-bedroom, 1,200 square foot condo, and we pay 1,650 a month. What would a two-bedroom, 1,200 square foot condo be in Mexico City?
Oh gosh, you can run like all ends of the spectrum. So we're in probably one of maybe the second most expensive neighborhoods in the entire city. We have a brand new 3 bedroom, I think it's about 1,400 square feet condo, and like it's beautiful. And we pay about $1,100 Canadian dollars a month for that. But
Awesome.
if you're in a 1 or 2 bedroom, maybe not in a brand new building, oh my gosh, you could be paying $700 or $800. It really depends.
Mm.
Yeah, the rents are incredibly affordable. And then of course there's not a lot of utilities on top of that, with no heat, or, hydro is very inexpensive, and cell phones are, yeah, it's just, yeah, it's not even comparable. Honestly, it's a
I
bit
I
shocking.
know about the cell phone thing. Yeah. And what about so in different parts of the world, they treat um, newcomers, I guess, differently with regard to owning property. Is there any restrictions around that, and or nothing? So I could own a house or a condo anytime I want. Doesn't matter. I don't have to be from there, and I don't have to be resident there.
No, no,
Amazing.
it's yeah, it's really easy to buy real estate here. The real estate market, it's kind of more of my husband's expertise, but we've looked at a number of buildings, a number of, little, we call them like little cottages about an hour out of the city, and the prices are, yeah, like you can get a beautiful little cottage outside of Mexico City about an hour for 50, $60,000. So
Mm.
the prices are really, really affordable. Of course, there are parts of Mexico City like Palenque, La Condesa,
Mm.
Roma Norte, and Roma Sur are those kind of the four biggest areas that are really getting quite gentrified. There are so many, oh my goodness, Americans, Canadians, Australians, Europeans just flocking,
Mm.
especially during COVID times. So many people were just, kind of leaving where they came from and moving here, that the Mexican government actually started a new immigration program. Because before that, you'd come in, you'd get your stamp, you could stay for 6 months, then you have to leave and come back. Now they have started this regularization program under humanitarian grounds, that as long as you've been to Mexico once in the last 10 years, you will be able to get temporary residency for 4 years, at which point you can then convert that into permanent residency, or you can go the naturalized citizen route. And it's really affordable. We hired a consultant to help us do ours. We did the 4 years, and I think it cost us about $1,000 each with the consultant and all the paperwork. And now we have kind of 4 years residency. We can come and go as we want to, but yeah, it's been such a wonderful experience, and I just can't stop smiling. Like it really has been that wonderful. We are loving every day here. Just the
Mm.
museums, and like all of the big ballets come through. We saw the Madrid ballet came through Mexico City a few months ago, and we're just constantly at galleries and operas and ballets and symphonies and parks, and it's so much more cultural than I had just anticipated. When you're here for a week, you don't really get to experience all of those things, but oh my
Sure.
goodness, yeah, it's a really, really wonderful city.
I love it. There's a couple other questions.
Mhm.
Obviously, both sets of parents are there, which is great. I am curious about health and wellness. Do you mind dispelling that myth around doctors or specialists? How difficult is it to get the care that one might need?
Oh my gosh. Our experience with the healthcare system here has been hands down probably some of the best experiences we've had with healthcare anywhere, even comparing, the times that we were using hospitals and doctors in Canada. So, my mom had a bit of an episode. It was probably about 8 or 9 months ago now, where she was at home and her speech was a little bit slurred. So we obviously rushed down to get her. We took her to the hospital. right in, no problems with language. The hospitals are fantastic, like just immaculately clean, state of the art, like just phenomenal. So we get her into the emergency room. And of course, they're worried that maybe it was a small stroke of some kind. I mean, my goodness, she had an MRI, a CT, a PET scan, a full cardio workup, a full blood chemistry, everything. So they diagnosed what was causing the issue, got her on a treatment plan. We were in and out of there with all of those tests done in under 5 hours for about 900 Canadian dollars, which is
Whoa.
just so after that point, because we had bought, oh my gosh, all kinds of, the typical Canadian, right? We're gonna get all this insurance and it's gonna be amazing, right? We didn't renew our insurance after seeing that experience. So I can absolutely say the hospitals here, there's private hospitals and public hospitals, so it's a blended system. If you want insurance, you should buy that insurance here because it's significantly less expensive. But if you're relatively healthy, I just think pay as you go is such an affordable option here. There's two other things that I think are so really unique about the healthcare here. One is that, well, maybe three things. So beside every pharmacy here in the city, there's actually a doctor's office. So they're connected and you can go see like a GP doctor for free or by donation for like 50 pesos. And I was just like, what? So I took my mom there. She got a bit of a bad flu this winter. So we just took her into the local pharmacy to see the doctor. They gave her full checkup, full diagnosis, prescribed her with, the medication that she needs. We walk right into the pharmacy. So I was just like, that's incredible. What a way to alleviate strain on hospitals and emergency rooms when you've literally got free access to doctors for everybody in all of these pharmacies. So that I think is so just a really smart way to get at making care accessible for people. The other thing is that whenever you go and see a specialist, so with Jim's folks, they're seeing a lot of neurologists and cardiologists. They're getting a lot of things done here that just the wait for some of these tests and specialists in Canada is a bit overwhelming right now. So they're going to see all these incredible specialists and they give you their personal phone number. They don't have receptionists here. So you see the doctor, appointments are like an hour in length. Like they want to get to know you. It's just so different. And then they give you their phone number. So if you have questions or you just want to reach out, you just WhatsApp them or text them directly. So I was like, that's incredibly interesting, really, really wonderful. And the price of medication here is just, I can't believe it. I have asthma. And so there's this one inhaler that I use that back in Calgary, I think it was about $150. That same inhaler here is $30. So the cost of prescriptions is ridiculous. And even going to the dentist, like I went and had a cleaning not long ago, and it was like $30 to go to this beautiful, like a high-rise medical building, all the latest equipment. So obviously that's incredible. My brother came down with his wife and they were like, we want to go to that dentist because they own their own business, so they don't have dental care. But oh my gosh, they got their teeth done, eyeglasses, prescriptions. Like it's just, it's so affordable and the care is so wonderful. And, I just think it's just so interesting that the doctor tells you, oh, Jim was at the doctor, that's my husband, with his father-in-law this week. And the neurologist said, yeah, we'd like to get a CT scan done. We'd just like to get a closer look. Why don't you go downstairs, get the CT scan? They'll bring the results up in the same appointment. And just, so it's really, I really can't say anything but incredibly good things. And I get it, there's the private system and there is the public system, and all of our, Mexican friends, they tell us that there are similar problems in the public system, as there is in Canada. You wait a little bit longer for things, for tests and things like that. But I do have to say that having a doctor attached to every pharmacy to deal with all like the little things that go on in people's lives is just, and to make that um, free for people is just, yeah, it still blows me away. The healthcare, the dental care, eye care, prescriptions, like you name it, top of the line, state of the art equipment. English is not a problem at all. So yeah, I could rave for for a long time on that. It's been really a great experience.
Well done. That's awesome. Very good to know. I'm also curious about the job situation and a wide range of jobs. What's the professional situation like? What's that looking like?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I'm not entirely, probably won't have a ton of advice around the job situation because we're both not working. I'm doing a little bit of consulting with some franchisees back in Canada. And I'm mostly writing books, and we're mostly just traveling and, having margaritas and tacos. But the economy is in really great shape here. The unemployment is very low. And all of the big, all of the big businesses are here, right? Google has a massive office here. Like all the big headquarters are here in Mexico City. I do know the hospitality industry struggles here as well to hire people. So that maybe is a bit of a universal trend right now. But yeah, I think you can obviously expect that a lot of the salaries are going to be lower than you would be used to working, in Canada, the US, or in Europe. But then you have to factor in that if the cost of living is literally a quarter of what it was, living in Canada, then yeah, the salaries being a little bit lower is probably not going to be a huge issue. Getting jobs here is another story. You need a different type of visa to come and work in Mexico. So the program I was talking about earlier, the regularization program, they're welcoming all of those folks to come, but you can't work on that temporary residency. So really more for folks that are retired or maybe have their own type of, online business or consulting in a different country or something like that. But yeah, I do know that the economy here seems to be ticking along nicely. Inflation, our friends tell us things are a little bit higher cost-wise than they were a year or two ago, but nowhere near the numbers that we're seeing kind of in other parts of the world.
Excellent. Thank you for that too. I've got another question, and back to health and wellness a little bit. My partner and I are very passionate about the natural side of going that path. Is there a lot of doctors of naturopath down there, and is it easily accessible?
Yeah, so that's an amazing question. Jim's mom, she is identical, like really prefers the natural route. And, there's some really interesting things about Mexico that I'm learning just culturally. There is a really deep respect for natural medicine in this country. It takes a while to get used to. Even doctors, in my mom's blood work, her cholesterol was a bit high, and they wouldn't prescribe anything. They're like, well, first we'd like to do this with your diet. And so I thought that was really refreshing. There are all kinds of homeopathy little shops all over the neighborhoods, and they have natural doctors that work in these shops too, and you can go and see them and have a consultation. And they do all kinds of things with natural medicines. And they actually have, well, I'm not gonna quote myself, but I think it's one of the last totally naturopath hospitals anywhere that's still actually a part of their public health system. So if you want to go to a hospital that only deals in naturopathic medicine, you can absolutely do that here. So I do definitely see, it's just, I don't know, it's not treated the same way that maybe in other parts of the world where it's not as highly regarded. It's not like that here. It is, yeah, it runs deep, I think, in the country. Just a really big respect for elders, for plants and medicine that come from the earth. So I just find that really refreshing too. And it's neat, like those little shops they're everywhere. So I think that's really for folks that prefer to go that route. There's way more options here, I think, than there is in Canada, and very, very affordable too.
Amazing. Oh my gosh. When do I move in?
Yeah,
At least I get a free bedroom.
it's it's a really magical place. Like honestly, I just I just can't say enough good things about it. And yeah, I think that it was absolutely just the right time and the right decision. And it's just a different, very culturally too. It's very independent here. It's like a freedom loving nation. They fought really hard for
Yeah,
their freedom and independence in two civil wars back to back, which I thought was really interesting, that in of itself. But there's just a real, it's hard to explain, but a real freedom loving, like people are still really trying here to advance themselves and better themselves. And there's so many entrepreneurs, and it feels so hopeful, and it feels so emerging would be like a really, I think, a really good word to describe it. And it's hard not to get caught up in the energy and just the real zest for life that Mexican people have.
I love it. I've got one final question just because I'm selfish around swimming. I swim every day that I can. I know you're not close to an ocean, so where do I go?
Well, you can go to, I mean, community pools, all the big hotels open up all of their rooftop pools. You can actually buy memberships to use all those facilities. And quite honestly, to go to the beach, like I'll tell you one final tidbit on costs, but my brother's going to be in Puerto Vallarta in a month from now, and we've gone to visit many friends that have hit the Cancuns and the Cabos. From Mexico City, you can get a round trip flight on like Aeromexico, any one of the airlines, for less than $100 to Puerto Vallarta, Cabo, Puerto Escondido, Cancun. It's so affordable to travel here. And then, of course, beautiful Airbnbs and all kinds of hotels in those places that honestly, Catherine, when we feel like a little bit of a beach fix, like it's very, very easy to hop in an Uber. You're at the airport in 15, 20 minutes, hop on a quick flight, and you're, at the beach of your choice is really, it's, it's incredible. Like it really, truly is incredible. You've got great beaches. So, an hour flight away, such great hiking. And, Mexico City is surrounded by volcanoes. So, if you miss the mountains a little bit, you've got these beautiful, huge volcanoes. So beautiful sunrises and sunsets and all kinds of hiking. And yeah, it's a bit of a paradise, I think.
It sounds like it to me. And I am so grateful that you took this time to share with me, with all of us, the importance of understanding what else is happening. And in Mexico City, I love it. I am sold. I'm very grateful, Laura. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, it was just such a great opportunity to just share the experience so far. And I really hope that, yeah, it just helps people get a little bit more curious about what's really going on out there and, come and check it out for yourself. Because I think that, by the sheer amounts of people that are moving here, I think that the cat is somewhat out of the bag.
I love it. Well, that's awesome. And you're right. That curious mind, that curiosity, we must continue doing that for our whole life. We must never lose it.
Agreed. Well said.
Thank you, Laura. Thanks again.
My pleasure.